I've got a modified plank for you to help with activating your core a little bit more so that you can work on keeping a little bit of that compression out of your low back. Sometimes that can contribute to sending some nerve pain down your legs, especially with pregnancy, pulling your back into just a little bit more of an arch. So strengthening the muscles that are going to help keep your back in a more opened position around those nerves is part of what we want to do. So we're going to do this modified plank. We're going to do it 3 times for about 15 seconds each. The first time, so technically I'll do it 4 times. The first time is going to be a little longer because I'm going through the cues a little bit more. So feel free to just watch for that first time and then to join in with me on the next 3 times after that. Okay. All right, so get to a surface that you can come to your hands and knees on. Probably not your bed because that might lead to some uncomfortable wrist compression. So start in hands and knees, and palms can be flat, or you can have some fists so that your wrists are straight, okay? So my hands are a tad in front of my shoulders, but only a tad. And I think my knees are a little bit behind my hips. So what I'm gonna do right here, and again, you guys are just watching for this one, is I'm gonna engage from my pelvic floor up, because your pelvic floor is one of your deep core stabilizers, right? So I'm going to engage maybe like 50%, lifting my clitoris and my anus toward one another and upward toward my head. And then I'm going to start to shift my weight forward. And as I do that, I am hugging my belly in, hugging that baby, if you're pregnant, up toward my spine. And now I'm going to push into my hands. Do you see how that made my spine rise up between my shoulder blades? You want that because your shoulders actually have muscles that contribute to spinal stability. This is your serratus anterior, that's the biggest one. So we want to turn that on. So you might feel a little bit of activity kind of just below your armpit actually. And I can feel some deep activity across my low belly. And also, since I'm trying actually to almost round my back, you can probably feel a little activity in your upper abs, so a little bit below that rib cage. And then another thing to point out that you might not be able to see is I have about 3 inches between my knees. Okay, so that helps keep my hips in a little more of a neutral spine. I am not squeezing my knees together like you might think you're doing for a plank from your knees or a plank from your toes, okay? So there's a little bit of space. So let's come out of that. Sit back on your heels with me. And we're gonna go in. We're gonna do that 3 times for 15 seconds each, okay? So use an exhale to shift yourself forward, coming to flat hands or coming to your fists. Inhale here. And then I'm going to exhale, engage pelvic floor, engage that low belly, that deep transverse abdominis. And then I'm pushing down into my hands so that my spine rises up a little bit. And I'm automatically feeling the need to turn on the upper abs, okay? Those are helping to round my spine just a little bit. I think we've got about 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Good job. So this does not look like a typical plank, but all these principles are what I want you to take into a typical plank when you get back to doing those. Here we go again, okay? Maybe you shift your hands a hint farther forward this time. Just maybe though, only if it feels right for you. So with an exhale, engage that pelvic floor about 50%. Start to lean your weight forward into those hands, pressing into them. Hug that baby or hug that belly up towards your spine. And try to keep that jaw and your face soft. Remember, there's a couple inches between those knees. We've got 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Shift your weight back. And this isn't meant to kill you. This is meant to gently turn on those muscles, okay? Just to wake them up a little bit to help support you throughout the day. Here's our last one. So bring your hands forward again. Use an exhale to come up. Breathe. Engage that pelvic floor about 50%. Start to shift your weight forward. Push into those hands so your spine comes up between your shoulder blades. Lift your belly or your baby up to the sky. And we got 8, 7, 6, 5. Are you still squeezing that pelvic floor and that low belly? 3, 2, And 1, let go. Good job. So when this starts to feel easier, I want you to walk your hands a little bit farther forward so you're getting straighter at the hip. But the biggest key is that you're trying to bring that spine up because it wants to sink down. But your rectus abdominis muscles, those are the muscles that if they're strong, they're going to help maintain the right amount of space between your vertebrae, because what their job is to flex your spine forward. And when you're pregnant, or when you have really tight hip flexors, your back wants to arch. So we want to work some of those muscles that help stabilize your spine and help prevent it from arching too much. So that's why we add that extra cue of hugging your baby up and trying to pull your ribs up to the sky, almost like a cat in cat-cow. Okay, thanks for watching, and please reach out with any questions. Take care.